Hi everybody, this is Kermit the Gaming Hermit here for the initial video for my channel. I wanted to start off with actually talking a little bit about the purpose of the channel. I've been playing video games for over 30 years. Started off getting my experience on the Atari 2600 and the ColecoVision back during the video game crash of the 80s. I had never been to a game con, and 2 weekends ago I decided to go to the Missouri Game Con with my wife. I live in Illinois, and it was just a couple hours drive, so I figured, why not? And initially, even though I've been playing for 30 years, I thought to myself, well, why do I want to go to a game con? I saw several videos of it from last year's Missouri Game Con, other game cons and such, and I thought to myself, you know, I've never been to one, even though I've bought games at places like GameStop, on eBay, on Amazon, you know, OfferUp, etc. I had never been to a game con, and I've heard good things about it. I figured, why not give it a shot? So I went down there, trying to keep an open mind, but I knew that there were a few things I wanted to pick up that I thought would probably be difficult to pick up through usual channels. Like, for instance, you might find a good deal or a game you've been looking for, like at GameStop or on eBay, having to walk into a pawn shop and find a game. But for instance, it might be a disc-only game, or just a cartridge, and I try to keep everything in pristine condition. I like to think of it that for collection, it's easier for cataloging if you can easily see the spine with the name of the game. So I wanted to try to pick up empty game cases. I figured, there's multiple collectors there at conventions. I figured hopefully I could find some of those. Additionally, I wanted to try to find PlayStation Vita games. Not just any games, more like the limited run games, the ones that are really difficult to find. I've had multiple opportunities to try to win games, or at least try to have a winning purchase at the time when limited run games puts their games for sale, but I've been unsuccessful a lot more times than I care to admit. So before games started getting too expensive, I figured I might as well give that a try. And then as far as, I want to see what other things there might be that perhaps I never really thought of, perhaps, just because it's really easy to focus upon current gen games, hear what's coming on the media and so forth. But I want to try to keep an open mind as far as what are some games that perhaps I enjoyed back in the days and forgot all about it, and thought, hey, if I can find the game at a good price, why not give it a try? And so we went down. I have to say, as far as my first impressions, it was a really lovely location. I'll put some links to other videos from other YouTubers I've seen that have took videos. Unfortunately, my video camera wasn't working at the time, but it was a great location. I think it was really well organized. I thought the staff was very friendly, and overall my experience was really positive. I thought the vendors were really nice, really cooperative. You can't just go into a GameStop and say, hey, the manual's missing, give me a discount. The vendors were very cooperative. Everyone was really friendly. It was a really great experience for me personally. So when I walked in, it was pretty exciting as far as seeing the large open vendor area. If you haven't been to Missouri Game Con or been following along as far as for this year's convention, they had quite a few YouTube celebrities. They had Pat the NES Punk. They had Nick Caruso, the gaming historian. They also had Adam Korlick, big Dreamcast Shenmue fan and such. So I definitely want to check out some of those. Unfortunately, I was only able to check out Adam Korlick's, but it was really informative. I just thought, even though there weren't a whole lot of special guests, they picked really good quality guests. Let's see, as far as pickups goes, my most expensive pickup happened to be my very first purchase there, which was kind of a surprise, but I thought it was a quality pickup. So we're going to start things off. Let's see, when I was a kid growing up, I remember going to a Kmart. If you're not familiar with Kmart's, they're kind of similar to Walmart back in the days, and they went out of business back in the 2000s. I remember as a kid going and seeing on the NES, they had Ghosts and Goblins, and I remember how much fun it was, but getting my butt kicked. And then years later on the PS2, playing Maximo, which was like the spiritual successor to the series, and having a great time with it. And I happened to see that they had Ghouls and Ghosts for the Sega Genesis. So not the best condition, as you can see. There's definitely some wear and tear surrounding the label, but to own an original cartridge, I think I got it for about $20. I was pleased. Most of my Sega Genesis game collecting has been, mostly loose cartridges. It's nice to try to find manuals and cases when I can, but sometimes you just gotta do with what you got. The next game was one that I was really pleased to pick up. It was Sega Rally Revolution. Now, I really enjoyed Sega Rally on the Sega Saturn. I thought it was a great game. I played a couple times in the arcades growing up, and I enjoyed the Dreamcast version. Never got around to picking up later versions. I'm still trying to find for Xbox 360 or PS3, but I heard good things about the PSP version. I figured I'd pick it up just because Sega's not really doing a whole lot with their franchises as far as fighting games, all their arcade games. So I figured if there's something new coming out, might as well try to pick up Golden Oldie. The next game was it's interesting. It's Choplifter 3 for the Super Nintendo. I only learned a few months ago that there was actually this game was even in existence. Growing up, one of my first game systems, as I said, was the ColecoVision. Got in the 80s during the video game crash, and one of my favorite games was Choplifter. If you've never played Choplifter, you fly around in a helicopter, you try to land into different prisoner of war camps and try to pick up prisoners of war and take them back to your base. The goal is to try to rescue as many prisoners of war as possible, and sometimes there's jets trying to gun you down and such, so you're trying to defend yourself as well as be the hero. And so I had a lot of fun playing it. And so when I found out about this and saw the game, I got it for $10. I didn't mention Sega Rally was about $5, but I was really thrilled to pick it up. I thought, this might be a nice opportunity to play a game similar to what I played as a young child growing up, but actually with better graphics. And the last one from the purchase was LucasArts Star Wars Starfighter Special Edition for the original Xbox. I already have it for the PS2. I know there's additional features for this game on the Xbox, but one of my recent purchases this year was Xbox One X. Got a 4K TV, Xbox One X, and Microsoft has done a really great job with regards to their backwards compatibility. It's kind of sad that Sony hasn't done the same with regards to the PS4, but definitely this is one of the games that Microsoft decided to. They're able to work out a deal perhaps with Disney saying, hey, we'd like to take your games and soup them up for the Xbox One X and make it playable for the Xbox One. And so I look forward to trying out this game on the OG Xbox and then popping into Xbox One X to see how much better it looks. I think it'd be a really great experience. If you've tried this and you had some comments, please let me know. I'd like to hear your see what you have to say concerning the upgrade. One of my next purchases, I was trying to look for things for my kids. I've got 5 kids, all 10 and under, and try to see what are some things that they might like, they can play. They like, handheld games, some games on the PC, they like playing on the PS4 and some older consoles. So I picked up Barbie and 3 Musketeers for DS for $2 and Fancy Nancy Tea Party. I figured E for everyone. I've got 2 little girls that would like these games. I figured why not? For the GameCube, I picked up Avatar: The Last Airbender. Looks pretty neat. My kids enjoyed the cartoon. I figured why not give it a try. And then they've also enjoyed the Last Airbender movie, so I picked up for the Wii as well. And they enjoy watching cartoons just like any other kid you expect. So SpongeBob SquarePants. This one is Creature from the Krusty Krab. So my kids like the Wii. I'm glad that the Wii came out. I know a lot of people kind of hate on the Wii, but there's some gems there to be found. Talking about the Xbox One, how certain games got brought up and had enhanced visuals. One of the games I was looking for that didn't have in my collection, at least I thought, was Crimson Skies. After reorganizing my games after my pickups, I noticed I actually owned the game for some odd reason. But this was one where I had seen several videos. I think Adam Corlick had a really nice video regarding some of the enhanced Xbox games for the Xbox One X. And this was one that somehow, I didn't bother playing it back when it came out, which is really weird just because I enjoyed games like Ace Combat 4 and 5 as well on the PS2. I played Ace Combat 6 on the Xbox 360. A lot of fun. So I was surprised that, an air combat game was one that I happened to miss. And so they have it for sale for really cheap on GameStop. for like $2, $3 and such. And I thought to myself, if I could pick it up for a comparable price, ensuring that it actually has the case, the manuals, which it does, although it is definitely faded. I'm not sure if the video gives it, the proper view, but it's definitely faded. There's some damage on the back of the case. But the manual's complete. The disc was in good condition. So for $4, I was willing to give it a try. So if it doesn't work, I happen to own a copy of it already, which I wasn't aware of. So lesson learned. Know what you got. Going to the GameCon, there was one vendor I knew that was going to be there, Dan from Epic Game Decals. And so I had met him about 2 years ago when I first moved to Illinois. I'm in the Navy. I was stationed in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and I was getting stationed in Great Lakes. And so I had stumbled upon Galloping Ghost. So if you're ever in the Chicagoland area, you want to go to probably the best arcade there is in the world, Galloping Ghost is the place to be. Every now and then they actually have vendor shows, not quite as large as like a game convention, but more like a swap meet. Probably like 5 or 6 vendors at a table or two. Folks come in, and I was able to pick up some games from him before, as well as cases. And I sent a message on Reddit saying, "Hey, are you going to be there?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm going to have 2 tables." I'm like, "Great. Do you have any cases? I'm looking for some games to put in cases." And we were able to work something out, and he hooked me up with a great deal. And here's some of the cases: Tekken 6 for the PS3. I was able to get the game disc only for a really great price, but this is a really great condition case. I'm not sure the video really gives it justice, but it actually has a nice slipcover, which I've never actually seen this slipcover before, so I'm really impressed. I love those extra additions, whether it's a steelbook case or slipcovers. If I can get with a slipcover or additional case, I'm all for it, so this will be great for the collection. Injustice 2 for the Xbox One. This is another game I was able to pick up for a great price as disc only. Now it's going to be in the case with a little bit extra protection. Fantastic Four for the GameCube. So same thing, disc only, and I need to find a home, and now it's got a home. Same thing for The Incredibles for the GameCube. Moving on to the Wii, Call of Duty Black Ops, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Now I already have the Call of Duty games on the 360, but as far as I like to try to see how games differ from one system to another, just because they're not always the same. Even though there might be the same cover art for the case, but on different consoles you might see differences as far as their features. So, picked up the game for like $1 or $2. I figured why not give it a try. For the DS, I picked up Meteos, which is supposed to be a really good puzzle game picked up recently, and so I'm glad it's going to be in the case. And then I got Battle Ninjago. It's a Lego game, so I got this one. I think I got 2 of them. I got Fire Emblem 3DS. This is Fire Emblem Awakening. I know there's a lot of Fire Emblem games. But yeah, I had cartridge only. Now it's got a case. Lego Battles. Again, the other Battles Ninjago. And then to finish all off, new Super Mario Brothers 2. So definitely glad to take them out of their travel protective cases and put them in their actual original cases. That way it looks a lot better. Having to see the spines, see them organized, put them in alphabetical order. It's nice to put things in order. Let's see, a few other games. So I picked up, this is a game I already had beforehand, but sometimes, if you see a game that you really like, and that you really want to maybe get an extra copy just because who knows what might happen. You might want to trade it with somebody else or share it with a friend. So this is one that I was really curious about. This is Spirit Camera for the 3DS. So Spirit Camera, The Cursed Memoir. So a lot of things, with Nintendo's, that they do that's really weird is that sometimes they decide to change names of things or not release things in certain regions, there's good popularity for it. So Spirit Camera is actually part of the Fatal Frame series. So we saw Fatal Frame on the original PS2, Xbox, the related releases on the Wii and the Wii U. Unfortunately, we didn't get the Wii version in the United States. We got the Wii U as digital only, but Europe and Japan got actual physical copies. But here's another Fatal Frame game, and they call it Spirit Camera. Now, granted, though, that's kind of the premise of the game. So people who, were Fatal Frame fans and saw this name, they probably think, oh, yes, this must be Fatal Frame for the 3DS. Unfortunately, it doesn't really give a whole lot of hints. I mean, we know that Tecmo, or I guess now Koei Tecmo, would have been the developers for this game. But there's names not on the game as far as looking at the case. So if you're just judging based upon what you see, it's difficult to tell. So got it for $5, so I was pleased. Cases, right? If you got into a GameStop or sometimes just any other store or looked online, I think my personal opinion is that I see a lot more times individuals, especially when I worked at EB Games and GameStop, seeing handheld games coming in as cartridge only instead of console games. Usually console games somehow they tend to be in their cases and such. Maybe might be missing, but more times than not, I would see cartridge only for handhelds. And so even though the Switch is supposed to be a dual system, both home console as well as a handheld, I'm starting to seeing more times than not at GameStop, their used game section having more generic cases than in comparison to looking at the PS4 or Xbox One section. So a few games I don't own that I figured I'd get the cases now in case I happen to find a cartridge for a good price. I picked up for a really good deal. I think it was maybe like $10 for the bundle, but it was Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Heard good things about it. Rocket League for the Switch. So this game is, if you've not played Rocket League, it's a great game. I totally recommend it. I haven't played a whole lot of all the sessions, but definitely my kids and I would love to play the soccer games together. It's a lot of fun. 4-player split screen, can't be beat. So I look forward to eventually picking up Rocket League so I can take it on the road when that time comes. And then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I know it's a super popular game. They call it like an evergreen game because Nintendo just keeps printing off that nice green money. I think it's probably sold millions of copies so far, and it's still selling strong. So I figured, yep, there's a good chance I'll probably be able to find that game in the wild. It's cartridge only, and now it's got a home waiting for it. Let's see. Talking about steelbook cases, which I alluded to earlier, there was one vendor. He had 2 items that really helped check boxes off for me. For the Vita, I picked up Demo, The Last Recital. So this was released in Japan. I didn't get a European release or United States release until Limited Run Games decided to step in. So this is a pretty neat game by PM Studios, known for their other rhythm games and such. And this was Limited Run number 63. Got it for $20. I was really pleased just because oftentimes you start seeing these Limited Run games, especially the older ones, start creeping up in price just because they're older and become harder to find. So it's brand new, sealed for $20. I was very pleased. And then an older game, Beyond Two Souls. So this was for $5. Came in a steelbook case. I love steelbook cases. It's not in the best condition. I'm not sure the video gives it justice and such, but I really like steelbook cases. I'm a sucker for them. I wish every game came in a steelbook case. Of course, it just add more weight, and definitely as far as makes bigger, heavier boxes to move when you have to move. And when you're in the military, you move a lot. There was another vendor who had a nice selection, kind of like, I want to say a grab bag, but boxes to go through and such of other gaming goodies. So if you've never been to a game convention, this is my first experience, you typically see either behind the vendor, either on a rack behind them or in a case in front of them that's sealed. Usually they're high-profile games, really expensive, $50 plus, $100 plus games. And then more common games, mainly in the $20, $30 price range and under on the table. Then underneath the tables, they usually have boxes. They might have strategy guides, old magazines like Nintendo Power, additionally maybe cheap accessories or really, really cheap games. And so this was kind of similar aspect was that items that would go into a collection that they just wanted to get rid of for probably a good price. So they had, I think it was something like 2 for $10. And I asked, hey, would you do 3 for $10? It was, in the afternoon, later afternoon of the show. And it's a one-day convention. So unlike 2 or 3 day shows, I usually try to get rid of stuff on the last day. I figured, why not? I'll throw in an offer. And sure enough, the show was really nice and cooperated. And for 3 for $10, I was able to pick up one PC Engine game. This is China Warrior. Just the HuCard itself. Finding cases for HuCards, that's quite the endeavor. But I figured it's a game I don't have for $3 or just about. I was really to add that to my collection for such a good price. Some nice steelbook cases. So One Piece Pirate Warriors 3. This case is beautiful. So unfortunately I don't own the game yet, but certainly if I find a disc-only version of it for a good price, oh my gosh, this is great. Only thing that's missing is certainly would be a manual. It looks like there's a space for a manual here with the tabs. I just don't know necessarily if there's a manual for it, just because this generation, oftentimes with Blu-ray capacity, they say, look on the disc or go to our website to find a manual. It's not like last gen where every single game essentially had a manual, or at least most of them did. So, but at least a really nice case to add to the collection. And I don't say necessarily to be outdone, but another nice case. This is Dragon Ball Xenoverse. So nice black case, nice reflective surface with regards to the dragon, if you can tell that there. So it looks brand new. So certainly really nice steelbook cases. I mean, you see some of these steelbook cases come out like for Best Buy. If you pre-order a game, get the steelbook case, or sometimes other vendors will have that. So you don't necessarily see them as often, especially these are ones I've never actually seen before. So I was really happy to pick them up for such a great price. At one of the other tables, they had another, below the table boxes of games for like $3 each, everything that was in there. And I think probably one of the biggest deals had to have been picking up Forza Horizon for the Xbox 360. Now, for Forza Horizon, if you go to GameStop, usually it's like a $20 or higher game. I'm not sure necessarily why it was sold so cheaply, but the case was in great condition, the cover art, the disc, no scratches on it, so really great condition. This must have been during the transition where they have tabs for manuals, but there's no manual inside. I'm not sure if a manual actually came out for this game. If it did, let me know. I can try to be on the lookout for a manual, but if it didn't, I'm glad to know so I don't go scavenger hunting for nothing. But yeah, it's only $3. And one of the neat things about it is that if you have Xbox Live Gold this month, Forza Horizon 6 is one of the free games. With the Xbox One, Forza 5 and Forza 6, came out, and there were no extra bells and whistles, except they were essentially 1080p, I think 60 frames per second, just trying to meet that standard. Forza Horizon 2 did not have any additional bells and whistles. However, with Forza 7 and Forza Horizon 3 and 4, they got the 4K boost and treatment. But Microsoft also went back and they boosted Forza Horizon for Xbox 360. So if you happen to have this one and you have an Xbox One X, you want to see it, in all its potential glory, go ahead and fire it up. If you've done so already, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are as far as seeing this. I look forward to popping in and comparing it between Forza Horizon 3, which I own, and Forza Horizon. Just because, and also comparing with Forza Horizon 2, just because we know Forza Horizon 2 was the first one available for the Xbox One, and seeing, what the upgrade for a 360 game may look like and how closely it compares. And then perhaps like my best as far as volume and price as far as purchases goes, came from one vendor. It sounded like his wife wanted him to clear out some space in their house and said, honey, time to sell things off. And I know my wife would love to tell me that, and thankfully she was actually there with me, and I picked up, as you can see, picked up quite a bit of stuff, and she hasn't done that to me. So, but I picked up some great games, I thought, for a pretty good price. They all were like, I think it was something like 5 for $10 or 8 for $10. There was some sort of really good special. I think the strategy guides were $2, accessories were $3, and he gave me a deal based upon everything I was buying. I picked up Dance Dance Revolution Economics. It was in great condition. I think it might be even in better condition than the one I already own. And so if I find a game that I already own that I really like, and I find perhaps a better copy and it's cheap, I'll pick it up. So this is one that I did that for. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. I know a lot of people are not big fans as far as the second trilogy, but I really enjoyed Star Wars The Force Unleashed, the whole hack and slash action. I love hack and slash games. I figured, I never tried the game before, it was $2, why not give it a try? And so, another one, similar idea, was Superman Returns. So this was a EA, DC, Warner Brothers collaboration. I've never seen videos for it. I thought, it's a superhero game, it's $2. I'm sure I can get $2 worth of excitement out of it. Another game, Rally Sport Challenge. I've heard good things as far as the Rally Sports series. I wish they made more of them, but I guess Microsoft has to make other things. Let's see, Need for Speed Pro Street for the Xbox 360. EA usually doesn't screw up the Need for Speed series. They'll add loot boxes, other things. Who knows if the new Need for Speed Heat will have loot boxes, but This looks pretty good. For the Wii, this game, Naruto Clash of Ninja Revolution. Funny story, when I was stationed in Cuba, I ended up going to a GameStop back in Jacksonville, Florida, where I was stationed before. It was my neighborhood GameStop. And I picked this game up. It was for like $5. I thought to myself, great, I'll bring it home, play with it. I got home, back in Cuba, opened the case. It was empty. This time, it's not. So I got it for $2. Got to replace just the empty case with an actual game. The Conduit. Got this one. So, published by Sega, by High Voltage Studios. So, you know, you saw beforehand there were Call of Duty games as far as in the Wii, but Wii was, you know, primarily it's a Nintendo system. Right? First party games so great, third party not so great. Same thing happened with the Wii U. Third parties decided to jump ship, and we see folks even like EA not even ready to jump on the Switch bandwagon, even though it's been selling like hotcakes. But this was a first-person shooter that really went under the radar because this is the only place, the Nintendo Wii, where you can play this game. It had a sequel, The Conduit 2. Both games are well regarded by the press as far as good scores, the general gaming community. And I had seen it in action. My nephew has it. He's played it several times, and I saw him play it. I thought it looked pretty good as far as the graphics for a Wii game. I figured, hey, why not give it a try? Alright, for PS2, Robin Hood, Defender of the Crown. Now, I used to work at EB Games and GameStop back during the PS2, Xbox era, GameCube. I remember seeing advertisements for this game. I even would visit Capcom's website, see what's coming up, if they had any sales. And I had seen, you know, information about this game, but never actually saw it out in the wild. And I thought to myself, who doesn't like Robin Hood, the whole story? Steal from the rich, gives to the poor. I figured, for $2, let's give it a try. Now this is one, Yanya Cabalista, City Skater by Koi. Koi of Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, all Muso fame. And they made a, looks like almost like a Jet Grind Radio clone. It has cell shading, really neat looking art. I remember seeing this game in the stores and seeing it in a nice, you know, cardboard box container. It had like this little skateboard adapter you put over the dual shot controller, the thumbsticks. And unfortunately it didn't have the box or the thumbsticks, but I thought, you know, I had seen it beforehand, it was a lot more expensive, and I saw it for $2. I figured, why not give it a try? Maybe I'll be able to find the box as well as the skateboard controller, but if not, I'm sure I can figure something out, maybe a popsicle stick. I'll give things a try. Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy, THQ. So, you probably heard Sphinx the last few months. It had a re-release. So THQ Nordic bought up the property of Sphinx and released it for the Switch. I'm not sure if they did it for Xbox One and PS4, but it got a re-release. And looking at the game in action for the PS2, it has some pretty good graphics. Back during the PS2 era, I was into playing, you know, Japanese role-playing games. I played fighting games, hack and slash games. I wasn't too much into, you know, just pure adventure or platforming games. But with kids, you know, I want to play more games with them, have them, you know, get their chops on, just like when I was a kid growing up playing things like Mario and such. I figured for $2, it should be a lot of fun. And then I picked up Shonen Jump's Naruto Ultimate Ninja 2. So one thing during the PS2 era I thought that was really great was that, you know, the anime properties, they really looked like anime shows when you're actually playing them on the TV set. And so Naruto was really popular back then. It looked like a fun fighting game. I figured for $2 I'd give it a try. It looks like it's 1 to 2 players, and certainly as far as it's nice to be able to, you know, play with the kids some games or see them play against each other or play together. So I figured for $2 it's worth a try. Alright, a few Dreamcast games I happen to pick up. I'm a big fan of the Dreamcast, as I probably said earlier. A couple of great deals I picked up for only like $2 a piece were Sydney 2000, who doesn't like Olympic Games? Star Wars Demolition. It was disc only, but for $2 I'd give it a try. The only thing about it was that I think it's probably the biggest game that got overlooked as far as within the Star Wars universe during its current generation. I think games like Star Wars Jedi Power Battles, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer probably caught most gamers' attention. And sadly, I don't know much about Star Wars Demolition, so I look forward to finding out more about it. And then Jimmy McGrath's Supercross 2000 by Acclaim Sports. If you are an old school gamer, Acclaim wasn't necessarily the name of quality, but there's not a lot of games within the Supercross type style to choose from on the Dreamcast. So for $2, I'm sure I'll have a good time. Let's see, a few PS2 accessories I picked up, which I'm kind of curious about trying, for $3 a piece, so great deals. One is an Intech wireless controller for the PS2. Now, definitely the PS3 we got spoiled with wireless controllers, and we think of it as commonplace these days. But like PS2 was, I think, the first system where we got to see wireless third-party controllers. I do have the Logitech wireless controller for the PS2 and the original Xbox, so I'm kind of curious to see how Intech compares to it. Generally, I like to play nice and close to my TV sets for my older consoles, so if you've actually tried out this Intech controller, tell me what you think about it. I'd be happy to find out. And then a multiplayer adapter by Performance. So I think it was an offshoot of Interact, which I think they're no longer in business. It's a 4-player multiplayer adapter for the PS2. I'm really curious to see as far as what games would make use of this that aren't sports games. Now, I'll play a sports game from time to time. I like to watch more professional sports rather than playing the games. However, nothing like playing games like 4-player Bomberman. That is a load of fun. So I'm not sure what other 4-player games there are on the PS2 that make use of this. I look forward to finding out. And then, last but not least, as far as pickups goes, are a few strategy guides. Now, it's unfortunate that we don't see as many strategy guides anymore. I think we're a little bit more fortunate in terms of the strategy guides are of a higher quality. We see hardbound, collector's editions. Sometimes they include additional DLC. But I think strategy guides from about 10 years ago or so are actually at their pinnacle because we saw a lot neater inserts. I think I picked up the Soul Calibur 2 back when it came out, and it came with a soundtrack. How cool is that? I love gaming music, but definitely picking up some nice strategy guides is great. Here's what I picked up, Ninja Gaiden Black by Prima. Now, if you've listened to the news several months ago, Prima is no longer in the game strategy guide business. So I think websites like Game FAQs, YouTube, probably put them out of business as far as that area of performance. There are other avenues as far as strategy guides. I think Brady still makes guides. I'm not sure who else does. But Prima, I thought, did it alright. I didn't think they were as good as Brady for the most part. Brady did have their hiccups like the Final Fantasy IX strategy guide. I think Versus Books had the best guides, probably followed by Double Jump, but debatable. It could have been also that I may have favored Versus Books just because the games that they did. Like the Fantasy Star Online strategy guides, I think were some of the best ones they ever did. Another guide, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. There is a better version of this. I believe it's a Game of the Year edition, so it has all the DLC. I think it's also hardbound as an option versus softbound. But for a few dollars, I figured why not? It's in great condition. I mean, this thing looks brand new, as if I hopped in a time machine, found it on the shelf, and bought it. And then Sonic Heroes, again by Prima. It's in really good condition. I'm looking forward to getting back into the game. I played a little bit of it and got distracted by something else, some other game. And so I look forward to getting back to it, and if there's a spot that I got stuck on, which I don't remember because it's been a while, I've got a guide here to go through, since I'm trying to find the right video or find the right FAQ. So yeah, let's see. Back to the Mo GameCon. I think one of the biggest, most exciting things I got to see, first of all, was there's this new device. It is the M Classic. So if you've been following Marseille, they make the M cable. So if you've not heard the M cable, imagine an HDMI cable that also has additional video processing involved. So for instance, your PS3 that might be putting out 720p resolution, you slap on this M cable, it's probably going to boost up to 1080p. Well anyways, the M Classic does that and more, so it will do even more. And then also for like Blu-ray, it's interesting because it actually will double the resolution. So if you've got a Blu-ray, you essentially have yourself a HD Blu-ray if you're utilizing the M Classic. So right now they have, I believe, Kickstarter or I think Indiegogo. I'll find the link, I'll put it in the description. But for earlier adopters, there's a discounted price. I signed up for the week after the convention, so it was like $10 more than what I had seen beforehand. But I got to see in action. Adam Korlick was with the representative there, and they had screens side by side, so seeing things like Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast and a few other games, and seeing it look a lot better. So it's really getting your money's worth. So I look forward to giving that a try. I think certainly things like for instance, Nintendo Switch, seeing it docked and then being able to upscale that, taking, let's say, the original Xbox One and seeing it look even better than before. I look forward to seeing how that works out. So it's supposed to come out in September. I'm not sure the exact date, but certainly if you like, there's a lot of good videos on YouTube. Adam Korlick has a great video. I'll put a link to that in the description if you want to check it out in action and see, side-by-side comparisons with and without the M Classic. Definitely worth checking out. And then, so that was the convention. It was a great time. I definitely look forward to going back to it next year and seeing what other game conventions there are, perhaps in the area where I can make a road trip with the wife. So thanks for checking out the video. I know it was a long one. I look forward to posting some more videos, and if you liked what you saw, have some suggestions and comments, please post them. And if you like it, please go ahead and click the bell and subscribe. I look forward to making more content. Well, thanks for stopping by. This is Kermit the Gaming Hermit. See you later.